We now return to Let's Play Shadowrun Hong Kong. Looks like we've got a few things we can do here. Territoriality, augment spell haste, new version of the haste spell that increases AP by 1 for 4 rounds. Goblet's accuracy is also increased by 15%. Ah, interesting. Or a spiritualist. Gain consume spirit. She can now consume spirits and imbues herself with their powers. Nah, not so useful. We'll go with territoriality there. Isabelle, sabotage napalm charges, mini launchers now packed with flame grenades, igniting targets and doing an additional 3 damage. I like that. Or pain suppression, when she's jacked into the matrix, attacks on her physical body are reduced by 3. Nope, this is the one right there. Lethal force, gains cyberware. Shiawase magnet arm. Didn't he say he never wanted to do cyberware? Anyway. It allows him to throw back incoming grenades, not so useful. Or a gas grenade, also not so useful. Does minor HP damage, but creates a cloud of choking gas that does AP damage. Well, I guess we'll take it. And, Raptor. Predator, gain Ares heavy laser. Firearm systems augmented with an additional heavy laser mount does an additional 4 damage, 1 AP damage, and 5% accuracy. Ooh. Cooldown of 2, cost of 1, or Rip and Tear. Latch on, okay, so it's more melee. Obviously, I've been going range with him. We'll continue to do so. Okay. Well, that's done. So, anyway, what are we after now? Go to the Mahjong Parlor. Wait a minute, before we do that. I have a crap ton of karma here. So, I need to get to Chi Casting 7, so I can have those new abilities. And that leaves me with 1, which means nothing. What could I put this in? Wasn't there... yeah, biotech. This would give me some more HP and a med kit, with a med kit. So, well, we'll find out here. But that's probably what I'll put it in. We'll find out if this is in fact the final mission. Come on, game. Wait. Before we go doing that, let's head to here. Because I think I've got some money from my pay data to pick up. Or not. Apparently I can't go back to the ship. Okay. Go in. Everybody's here. The walk through the Mahjong Parlor is punctuated by the tantalizing smell of coconut and fried confection. Your crew surrounds kindly Cheng, watching uncomfortably as she peels small egg-shaped delicacies from a waffle-like pastry and pops them into her mouth. Each time she does, her eyes close in ecstasy and soft sounds come from her throat. There you are, Monk. Your crew here tells me that you were able to locate and interrogate the plastic-faced man. The straw sandal's eyes narrow and her rusty voice gets an edge. They haven't told me his current disposition, however. I assume everything went as I instructed. I actually was thinking about taking his face as a trophy. Yes, Auntie, we took one of Josephine's pieces off the board. Kindly Cheng's nostrils flare with a sharp inhale, and her eyes glisten in triumph. That was for you, Nightjar. I trust you got something useful out of him? We got plenty. Wu sounds eager. He gave us a data dump on everything he knew about Prosperity Tower. First-hand info. Josephine's headquarters? She puts down the pastry, rubs her nose, considering. That could be useful, I suppose. What do you intend to do with it? We're going to rescue Raymond. He's alive, Auntie, just like I said he was. Josephine's holding him in there. She's doing something to his brain. Something to his brain? She takes another bite of her pastry. What is that old bitch up to now? Based on the memory Mr. Plastic showed us, it looks like he's trying to rewire her son's memories, using something called ASSIST, Artificial Sensory Induction Systems technology. It allows the user to record, process, and feed synthetic sensory input to the brain. Like a SimSense chip? Yes, Auntie, it's the technology that led to SimSense. It's also what allows Deckers to enter the Matrix and grants riggers a neural connection to their drones. An expert assist technician could alter someone's personality, memory, even identity. I'm guessing experts like that don't grow on trees. Definitely not. Changing someone's memories requires a world-class expert in assist and a massive amount of computing power. I'm not sure exactly what they're doing to him, but I'm guessing that his mom wants him to forget something, or to remember it differently, maybe. And we have no idea what that is. Isabelle hesitates. No clue. All we know is she's holding him in Prosperity Tower while her people work on him.
This woman takes depravity to a whole new level. She's rewiring her son's brain?
Wu rubs his head in frustration.
Who the hell does that?
Let's stay focused, Duncan. Isabelle turns to the rest of you. Mr. Plastic dropped us a couple of terabytes of data on Prosperity Tower, right out of his brain. Gunshow and I have been studying it. Lots of good intel to mine there. Just what we need to take a run at the place and hope to get out alive. So how do we make our approach?
Fortunately, Prosperity Tower is one of Tsang's lower security locations. It's mostly administrative, marketing, that sort of thing.
That's good. Kindly turns to her enforcer. Mr. Bao, give the runners those old Tsang security passes you used on that hijacking last year.
Yes, Mrs. Cheng. They'll get them.
Those passes should get you through the lobby. The Triad boss pokes a fingernail between her teeth and dislodges a piece of pastry. You'll still have to explain your presence, Monk, so don't expect to just walk on through. What about that junk data you held on to after the Wuxing run, Isabelle? Anything in there we can use? Good thinking, and I'm already ahead of you. I scoured the leftover Wuxing paperwork and found a way to change our status to special couriers. We can use that to pose as a third-party Wuxing uses to deliver important packages.
That'll work for a while, but we can't expect to stay in cover for long. One way or another, things are going to get hot.
The loading dock sounds just like the edge we need. Let's do it. The what? Okay, I'll get us booked into the Song system and print off some matching papers. We'll need a van to make it look legit.
Bao? Consider it done.
Talk to me about the security setup. How do we get to Raymond? The key to this operation are the 3 security stations located on different floors. The matrix systems in these security stations are the command and control hubs for the entire building security. As such, they're the best place to find out where Raymond Black is being held.
That's all we got on his location? All we know is that he's being held somewhere called Lab 12. But where that is or how to get in there is something we will need to figure out on site.
If things go hostile, the best thing to do is get to an alarm panel or a matrix security node and shut things down. If we're noticed, we'll have a brief window to cut the link to the alarm system. If we do that, it will isolate the whole floor from the security system. The rest of the building won't know what's happening there. If the alarm goes off and we cut the link to the alarm system, we can spoof the system. Tell it we've moved on to another location.
That might work once or twice, but if we spoof too many alarms, they'll figure it out.
How long is this brief window to cut the alarm? Maybe 30 seconds, maybe less if the network isn't cluttered with traffic. It's there as a failsafe so security doesn't stampede all over the building if a janitor forgets to close the door. What about guards? Quantity, training?
Standard corp security for the most part, but Song has a rapid response squad for high-priority events.
That would be us. Is Goblet right? Do you think an intrusion into Lab 12 would qualify as a high-priority event?
Judging by the way Grandma Tsang took out Carter, Gutshot, and Nightjar, I'd say she isn't interested in anyone getting anywhere near her son. Expect to face Tsang's elite security once we find him.
What else do we have on the security stations themselves? Staffing, weaknesses. Only one thing worth mentioning. Isabelle looks over to Wu.
The only way into a security station is with a keycard, and guards on each floor carry a card to the station on that floor.
So we can get a card by taking them out, but there may be other ways of getting keycards. Wu crosses his arms across his chest.
Like I said, the security stations are the key to this operation. They provide multiple opportunities to exploit the system and determine how to approach the rest of our incursion.
The security stations are high-priority targets. Check.
We want to take them fast before they have a chance to respond.
Well, I'm sure that went so well last time that it definitely will go well this time. Which station do we hit first? The little Decker purses her lips. No way to know. We'll need to take one of them and use it to determine our next step. It's like we have directions to go find a map. That's all I need to know about security.
Let's hope it's enough to give us an edge.
So how do we stop this assist thing from rewriting Raymond?
All we know is that an assist device is located in Lab 12. It's the only one in the building. Now, I doubt that Grandma will just hand over the passcodes to her system if we ask nicely. So we'll need a Decker to access the assist device and eject him from the system safely before she scrambles his brain.
Got it. And what does this Decker need to do to eject him safely? Like I said, we don't know. We're going to have to improvise, figure that out when we get there. Fine. One other thing. While I was helping Duncan verify as much of this data as I could, I decided to collect our marker with Bull and his team of runners. And you didn't think that would be a good idea to run that by me first? We're not exactly flush with time here. She drops her hands to her hips. I thought you wanted to get the old man out of there. Okay, you collected our marker. What did you get? Turns out Bull and our runner friends hit Song a few months back. Low rent smash and grab for another corp, but they got a quick scan of the building's matrix security before they rabbited. They gave us data flags that pinpoint where the security nodes are located inside of Song's system. So when we jack into a security station, we'll be able to make a direct attack on the security node. That could just buy us the seconds we'll need to cut the alarm link. Nice work. Kindly Cheng cuts in, licking her fingers with loud smacking noises. One more thing, Monk. While you're in her headquarters, look for anything we can use to incriminate or embarrass Josephine Son. I want dirt, something I can feed to an acquaintance on the Executive Council, someone who stands to gain from it. My first priority is getting Raymond disconnected from that assist machine. She pops another egg treat into her mouth, her eyes closed tight with pleasure. Of course, my sweet, of course. Now go enjoy Prosperity Tower, she smiles wolfishly, and give Josephine Son my regards. 4 more karma. Now I've got 5. What can I get with that? As far as goods go, I don't think I need any new ones. Or maybe I totally do. Where'd all my shit go? Can I actually go back to my boat? Now I can. Hooray. I mean, I may as well, right? I've got money to spend. How much, in fact? 2,000. Okay. Inbox. Mail. Thanks. From who? Dreamland. Just wanted to say thanks for the hookup with Rhombus. Isabelle was right. He was able to make a few modifications for me that, well, let's just say I've got some relief and leave it at that. Great. Jobs directory. No, it's under Shadowlands. Post pay data for sale. Oh. Okay. I thought I had some already up there, but I guess not. So, useless. Well, now I could use this opportunity, I imagine, to talk to people, finish off stories, possibly get something. Now, see, the thing is, I don't really want to, but I'm thinking that maybe if I did do that, I would have an opportunity to use, let me get rid of this first. I would have an opportunity to possibly get something out of it. Like, we could talk to Isabelle and see how she's progressed on her machine, and maybe we'll get some fancy program out of it. Maybe Duncan will have to, I mean, I can see the game doing stuff like that, where it would reward you for filling everything out. So, what have I got here? This is Quick Strike. Do I want that over... Magic resistance really hasn't helped me much at all. Let's actually swap that out. Okay. So I think that will work. We can't get much more done this episode, so maybe I'll consider talking to at least Duncan.
Good to see you. Woo smiles. Now leave me alone. I got stuff to think about.
Alright. Fine. Let's go talk to the girls. Her machine does not look fixed. Isabelle is jacked into the octopus. Her body sits inert, her breathing shallow. As you approach, an image blossoms onto the largest of the octopus's view screens. Hello down there. It's good to see you again. She smiles down on you from the monitor, her outline scintillating with blue-white light. She looks peaceful, at ease. You really feel at home in the Matrix, don't you? You look happy in there. I suppose I am. It's a comfort thing. As long as I'm jacked in, I can be whoever I want to be. Whatever I want to be. Out there in meat space, I usually feel uncomfortable in my own skin. The avatar offers you a lopsided smile. I'd probably just live in here if I could. I've heard about deckers who have tried it. Never turned out well. Dehydration is a bad way to go. I know. And of course I was joking. But truth be told, I do spend most of my time out there wishing I were back in here. If you were a decker, you'd feel the same. It's hard to live in a cage of meat when you know how sweet it feels to leave your body behind. Alright. Well, you have fun with that. I gotta go. Jesus Christ. Why does it do that every time I enter a room? Goblet looks up from a dented tin of oysters at the sound of your approach. Her rat's madness and folly scurry from her hips up to her shoulders. Two sets of beady red eyes fix themselves on you. Eating again?
Hey, Seattle. Oyster?
She spears a gray lump of seafood with a fingernail, extends it to you. It smells like low tide at a municipal pier. Yeah, why not? You pop the rubbery wad of flesh into your mouth and chew. An explosion of lukewarm brine is your reward.
Good, right?
Half-repressed memories of dumpster diving in the Barrens dance a merry jig in your brain as the mangled oyster slides down your throat. I've eaten worse.
Exactly, right? It may not be fine dining, but it's seafood, and it isn't made of soy. That makes it good in my book.
She tilts back the tin, drains the remaining juice, and then flicks it into the overflowing bin at her side.
So, what can I do for you?
You said you'd teach me how to be a better Shadowrunner, and I'm here to collect.
Still remember that, do you? I just sort of assumed you'd laugh it off.
No dice, wizened Mentor. You offered, now pay up. She straightens.
Okay. How about this? I'll tell you a story about it run gone bad. You tell me what you'd have done in the runner's place, and then we'll compare notes on your answer. How does that sound?
Works for me. She sweeps a tangled rope of hair out of her eyes and back over one pointed ear. After a moment of silent contemplation, she bites her lips and nods.
Okay, so this is a story from early in my career. I was a part of a team here in Hong Kong, but I did some occasional moonlighting for another group based out of Macau. I was a busy kid.
Early in your career? So you were like, what, 12? Her eyes narrow in mock indignation.
You say that like I couldn't have been. When I was 12, I could have destroyed you. And also, I was 16. Practically an adult in orc years. We grew up fast. Anyway, the job was a hit on this tower, sort of a trid multiplex/apartment complex. I'm sure they've got them in Seattle, too. You know the kind. 7 huge screens, monster concession stand, coffin apartments on top like barnacles on a whale.
I lived in one for a while. Every time they showed an action movie, the walls would shake.
She nods. Yeah, that'll happen. Our client wanted us to break into one of the apartments. The story was that an ex of hers, a guy named Boggs, lived there. She'd been cooped up with him until about a week prior, then things went sour in a big way. She wanted us to get back some things that Boggs kept when he kicked her out. Scare the shit out of him, bloody him up a bit, make it look like a robbery. You know the drill.
It's a standard smash and grab, then.
Yeah, it was a pretty bush league gig, but the pay was decent enough. Not the sort of thing you'd turn down. So anyway, Sibilance, that was our group leader, had a plan. We knew that we had to go in quiet because the Metroplex had a panic system wired directly to the HKPF. If we'd gone in shooting, we'd have been drowning in cops within 10 minutes. Sib thought we could maybe take advantage of the apartment's terrible soundproofing and kick in Boggs' door when the movie got loud. We'd camp out near his doorway, wait for the ceiling to start raining plaster, then smash our way in with his neighbors, none the wiser.
There's no way that would work.
I don't know, it might have, if things had gone different. But it's what we did, so pipe down and let me tell you the rest of the story. So we waited in the hall, just like Sibilance planned. We had a guy on the elevator, another at the stairs. I was waiting by the floor's communal kitchen. Sib took up a position by the door. She had these cyber legs that she'd dumped a ton of nougat into. Hydraulic jacks, strength enhancements, the works. Girl could probably leg press a dump truck. She pauses for a moment. Come to think of it, most of her plans involved kicking things. There's something a little sad about that.
Focus, Goblet.
Right, story, right. So we heard a boom from downstairs, felt the walls shake with a reverb. Sib wheeled back and gave the door a massive kick, just as she'd planned. From where I was standing, I couldn't really see what happened next. I could hear a massive crack as her boot slammed into Duraplast. The door flew off its hinges, exploded off, might be a more accurate phrase. A second later, we heard an ungodly crash. There was a moment of silence, then Sib let out this little gasp. The apartment was in shambles. It looked like a hurricane had hit it. Everything was trashed, everything but the door, which was miraculously still in one piece. Remember that this was a coffin apartment. It wasn't much wider than the door was to begin with. And Boggs, well, what was left of him was under the door, too. Well, that didn't turn out well. Yeah, it wasn't good. Boggs was dead and the stuff we'd been sent there to recover had been smashed to bits. And then the building alarm went off. So that's the situation. Our payday is smashed. My temporary teammates are all standing around with stupid looks on their faces. The cops are coming. I'm standing by the kitchen. She plants her hands on her hips, smiling. What would you have done in my place?
I'd have tried to improvise. Was there anything in the kitchen you could use to resolve the situation?
Good thinking. As it happens, there was, and I knew just what to do with it. The thought popped into my head, and I just went with it.
She taps her temple with a smile.
That's a lesson to remember, Seattle. The first answer that you come up with is almost always the best one you're going to have, so just roll with it. Don't second-guess yourself. Don't hesitate. Just act. You'll live longer that way.
Okay, thanks, Goblet.
Now, when I think crowded theater, I think place where you can't shout fire because it'll cause a panic. And then I thought, cops don't charge into burning buildings. They help people get out of them. And as it happened, I had the means to create real, genuine fire sitting right across from me, a pair of industrial ovens.
You set the building on fire?
I encouraged it to burn. Opened the gas vents wide, set the range on a timer, and motored back into the hallway. The others had started arguing amongst themselves. I told them to snap out of it and follow me down into the lobby. We had to clear the hallway before an errant spark took the whole floor out. Unfortunately, the rest of the group wouldn't listen. Sib and the rest of the team were too busy arguing about the relative merits of her let's kick things really hard and see what happens tactical system to want anything to do with me. I shouted back to them that the kitchen was going to explode and continued down the hallway. Just like I'd planned, I got out of that run in one piece. So did every single one of the people in that multiplex. My fire plan worked beautifully. If the rest of the team had listened to me, they might have gotten out of the building too. Kind of a bummer that they didn't, but at least the run turned out well for me.
All's well that ends well, I guess.
That's right. You take what you're given and make the best of it, and that's what I did. I couldn't collect any pay, of course. The run had been a disaster. But after the explosion, I got to ride in the front of the fire truck, and they gave me cookies and a blanket. I wound up dating one of those firemen a few weeks later. You were 16! So it all worked out in the end.
Goblet claps her hands together and rubs them, a satisfied look on her face.
So, Seattle.
The laughter disappears from her voice, and her expression goes serious. It's like somebody flipped a switch. Suddenly, the look in her eyes is shrewd, calculating.
Tell me, what was the moral of this story? What lesson was I trying to convey?
Go with your gut, I guess? She nods sagely.
That's right. Trust your impulses, and don't be afraid to wing it. Almost any action is better than no action at all. Once you've committed to doing something, you gotta follow it through, though. No arguing or hand-wringing. Just do it. Just do it! If you get caught up in your own head, agonizing over past mistakes, well, don't be surprised if you wind up dead. A kitchen fire can take you down as easily as a cop's bullet if you stand around and let it.
All right, well, it's been good talking to you, thanks.
No problem. Sweet dreams.
I don't, Jeez. Okay, let's go talk to Ractor. Hopefully briefly. Maybe he has something new on Koche. Welcome back, my friend. What can I do for you? I've got a few more questions, if you don't mind. He raises an eyebrow. Go ahead and ask, my friend. I'm not stopping you. Oh, didn't we already ask this stuff? Never mind, Ractor. Oh, good. Good. Okay. Well, all that's left, I guess, is to go to Prosperity Tower and do the rest of the game. 5 karma. What can I do with you? Come on. Come on. There. Okay. Quickness? Increases chance to hit ranged combat? I don't have ranged combat, unfortunately. I wouldn't have enough points to bump up dodge. We can't really go much into thrown weapons. I guess I could. I could dump 3 points into that. That's all I could put it into. 3 points into biotech. Just bump that up. Increases spellbook slots. If not yet unlocked, it already says. And we did that when we went down this way, so... What about charisma? Anything I can do with you? I can start summoning spirits in spellbooks. Calculate chances to control spirits. A new etiquette. Well, I wouldn't have enough points to get there. Well, shoot. This really doesn't help me at all, does it? I mean, the best thing would just be getting some thrown weapons and then picking up some daggers on the way. Or some biotech. That's really all I can think. ESP control, yeah, that's totally not me at all. Well, I guess we'll do that then. And then we'll just have 2 useless points. Unless I wanted to put them into something. And just kind of pick up. Although, I mean, hand raisers would probably help me out a hell of a lot there. I would lose out on some essence, though. But I also said in a previous conversation that I wasn't going to be getting cybered up, right? So we'll just call it good there, and we'll have 2 points. All right. So I'll end this one here, and next time it looks like we're going into the final mission. So I'll see you then.